Do you like sitting in a corner alone for hours on end, doing the same exact thing over and over again? Well, shut the fuck up. I have just the skill for you. Construction, baby. Probably the most valuable and useful skill at the end game of Old School Runescape, and that sweet 99 cape can be yours only for the low price of 400 billion fake internet porn. But wait, stop right there, you stupid degenerate. What if I told you there was another way? A fun, social experiment that is much less efficient, but doesn't cost your willingness to dip into the cardinal sin of real-world trading. Welcome to Mahogany Homes. Still listening, I see. That's good. Let's talk about Mahogany Homes, what you need to do, and how to play it. Jokes aside, Mahogany Homes is a very underrated minigame in my opinion. Yes, it is repetitive like most minigames in RuneScape, and it doesn't come even remotely close to the meta ways of training construction quickly. But it does provide a vastly cheaper alternative to training one of the most expensive skills in the game, and it is the only way to get the carpenter's outfit, the construction-specific skilling armor. For someone who is relatively new to the construction skill or wants to save some GP and do a method different from just building mahogany furniture over and over and over again, this is certainly a viable option. So let's get into it. In order to start Mahogany Homes, it's pretty simple. All you need is a POH, which you can get by completing the Daddy's Home mini quest or paying an estate agent 1000 GP. Just a recommendation here, while the requirements to play are low, I'd hold off on starting until you have readily available teleports to these following locations: Varrock, Artie, Hosidius, and Falador. Being able to fast travel to these locations makes this minigame so much more efficient. Mahogany Homes contracts are issued by Amy and Falador, whose home is just south of the park in Falador and west of the Central Bank. This is obviously very easy to get to with numerous options available, so I'm not going to dig into it there. The objective of Mahogany Homes is very simple. Complete a construction contract assigned to you by Amy by traveling to the designated location and repairing or replacing the assigned furniture. Contracts vary in a few different ways as they can be assigned in difficulty tiers: beginner, novice, adept, and expert. These tiers are gated by construction levels, with beginner requiring level 1, novice at level 20, and adept at level 50, and expert at 70. There's really no difference in the mechanics of these tiers aside from needing different materials to do the higher level contract and the amount of XP and carpenter's points you get at the end. The inventory you choose to run with Mahogany Homes contracts is entirely up to you, but everyone's going to need a few basic things. A saw, a hammer, some planks, and steel bars are necessary to play this minigame, as the first two are always required for any construction activity, and the contracts given during Mahogany Homes always require a varying amount of the latter two. That's all you need to play this minigame, with loads, I mean loads of optional helpful equipment and items to better optimize your playstyle with running contracts. Speaking of optional helpful items, Mahogany Homes on its own without any assistance fucking sucks. Spending more than half your time running to a bank or to the next contract is meant for the shitheads, the untouchables if you will. If you're running into jobs below 50, consider seeking help mentally, you stupid fuck. There's three variables that determine how fast you do Mahogany Homes: your construction level, how fast you can travel to and from the contracts, and how many planks and steel bars you can carry at any given time. Your construction level is basically the only one you cannot manipulate very heavily. As you gain construction levels and unlock different contract difficulties, obviously you're going to get much more XP over time. As a note, you can boost your construction skill using any of the items here. And note, you cannot use the crystal saw. This will not work to boost yourself to unlock the higher tiers. Being able to travel to and from different contracts efficiently provides a huge boost to your overall XP and points per hour. Being completely honest here, if you don't have the teleport capabilities to go to Varrock, Artie, Hosidius, and Falador quickly, it's really not worth it to attempt this minigame. So in terms of adding to your inventory, make sure to bring some teleport tabs or runes, or configure your POH to have these teleports available. Additionally, an extremely useful spell to have for Mahogany Homes is NPC Contact, which allows you to contact a specific NPC remotely. Being able to contact Amy remotely to get a new contract saves a lot of time, because you won't have to teleport back to Falador every time you finish a construction job. Just be aware, if you do use NPC Contact, obviously you're going to be in the Lunar Spellbook and won't be able to utilize any of the normal Spellbook teleports if you are using them. Inventory matters in literally everything in this game, and Mahogany Homes is no exception. Depending on what contract you get, you're going to need to utilize some planks and steel bars to replace or repair pieces of furniture. Obviously, the more planks and bars you can carry at any given time, the better. So utilizing teleport tabs instead of runes, or even better, configuring your portal and your POH to the contract cities Saves you a lot of space. I also sometimes like to keep noted planks in my inventory so I can easily unnote them at a bank versus having to open up my bank every single time I go there, but that's really just a preference, it doesn't matter that much. There are also rewards from this minigame that help with this. For 500 points you can get Amy's Saw, which functions as a normal saw, only this time you can equip it, which will save you 1 precious inventory space. The holy grail though here, and what really opens up Mahogany Homes, is the plank sack. I can't begin to tell you guys how much the plank sack changes this minigame. Being able to carry an extra inventory of planks is so immeasurably more efficient. We're going to talk about it more during the rewards, but seriously, buy the plank sack first. Last thing on this section is run energy. Every time you finish a contract, you're offered a cup of tea from the person the contract was for. Because of this, you never really need to worry about run energy. So I mean, shit, don't worry. So a quick note on a few other helpful tools here, mainly Runelite plugins. There's 2 major plugins that I feel makes this much more streamlined. The first is the Mahogany Homes plugin, which is a pretty standard minigame plugin and interface with your current contract, requirements for that contract, and session stats are displayed, as well as the furniture that needs to be replaced or repaired highlighted. Very, very helpful, especially when you're trying to move quickly. The other is the plank sack plugin. If you aren't aware, the contents of your plank sack are typically shrouded in mystery, only available to you if you right-click check it. With the plank sack plugin, it will tell you the number of planks you have in there at all times. Though this plugin can be a bit finicky and sometimes is off, I still find it pretty helpful to determine if I need to go to a bank immediately or if I can do another contract beforehand. The mechanics of Mahogany Homes are extremely simple. Talk to Amy either in person or via the NPC contact spell to get a contract. Travel to that contract location, of which there are multiple potential locations in either of the 4 major cities, and repair or replace the requested pieces. Then talk to the contractee. It's that simple. Once you finish, you can talk to Amy again to get a new one. The mechanics section of this video for once is short and sweet. Every time you finish a Mahogany Homes contract, you get carpenter's points and some XP. Here's a breakdown of each of the rewarded values based on the contract here. The rewards can be purchased from Amy, and while she doesn't have many, they definitely fit the bill of the typical rewards offered for the newer minigames in OSRS. You have the construction-centric outfit that when worn offers varying construction bonuses depending on the piece. Some Hosidius blueprints, which unlocks the Hosidius themed house style. Basically just a cool cosmetic piece to change your POH. There's also a supply crate containing construction materials and the aforementioned Amy's Saw and plank sack. I'll reiterate from earlier, I would personally save up and make the plank sack the #1 priority, especially if you want to do this minigame long term for all of the rewards. It makes such an insane difference in terms of efficiency. So the walkthrough for this video is more so to compare the differences between optimizing your Mahogany Homes grind versus just doing it without the helpful options. Regardless, I'll still explain in detail what to do here. So I'm going to do a run here with a standard inventory for a first timer, mimicking a low level account that's using runes or teleport tablets, having no plank sack, having no Amy's Saw, things like that. Then I'll do one with an optimal inventory for a more experienced player that's looking to efficiently mow through this minigame. The standard inventory for Mahogany Homes is going to be your hammer and saw, teleport options to Varrock, Hosidius, Falador, and Artie, 1 or 2 steel bars, and the rest the type of plank that matches your contract. Note that for this video, I'm going to use normal teleport tablets for Varrock, Falador, and Artie, and the Xerix Talisman Glade teleport option for Hosidius. I feel like that's pretty standard for low level to mid level accounts. I'm also doing expert contracts in this run, so I'll be using mahogany planks and just blowing through all of the money that I possibly have in my bank. So starting in Falador, I'll talk to Amy and get my first contract, which is to help out Jeff and Varrock. So I'm going to teleport to Varrock and head on over to his house and start repairing and replacing all the stuff that needs to be done. This is kind of where you're really going to see how much easier this is with the Mahogany Homes plugin with Runelite. It's not so bad without it, but it definitely speeds up the process being able to see what actually needs to be done and just clicking on the highlighted area. A lot of places have an upstairs and a downstairs, so if you ever feel like you're not finishing your task and you're talking to them and you don't think there's anything left, make sure to check to see if there's an upstairs or a downstairs or an area that you're missing. Once I've done all the tasks, I'll speak to Jeff to complete my contract, grab the cup of tea for my run energy, then teleport right back to Falador to talk to Amy and get another one. Really simple, just repeat that process as much as needed and stop by a bank as often as you need to replenish your supplies, which is going to happen a lot early on, especially when you don't have the plank sack. So now let's look at an optimized run. Alright, so that was a standard run. Now let's see how much different it is when you have some helpful items. A lot of you guys might know I typically do videos for beginners that are trying to learn something. So this section is not going to be for that person. This is going to be somebody who has a lot of the rewards and things like that. But For the beginner, you guys can see that even though this minigame can be a little bit repetitive and boring at first, once you get a lot more of the tools and rewards, it becomes much faster and much more efficient, kind of showing you what you're working towards. First off, you need to optimize your traveling methods. To do that, you need teleport methods to Varrock, Falador, Artie, and Hosidius that won't take up your inventory space. There's numerous ways you can do this. The most efficient method would be to set up the portal nexus in your POH to offer teleports to all of these locations, as well as a mounted Xerix talisman for the Hosidius Glade teleport. As for other inventory saving options and other equipment, equipped you're going to have Amy's saw as well as a construction outfit for maximum XP. Finally, you'll want to be in the Lunar Spellbook. Now, the optimal inventory for Mahogany Homes is going to be your hammer, I would say maybe 3 or 4 steel bars, a plank sack filled with the planks you need for your contracts, a rune pouch filled with astral, cosmic, and air runes to utilize the NPC contact spell, and the rest planks. As you can see, it looks a lot different than the standard inventory, and obviously this is taking into account that you've got the construction outfit and Amy's saw purchased from the reward of this minigame. But I still think it's worth it to show the differences here. So I'm going to start the optimized run using NPC contact to talk to Amy for a contract. This contract is for Ross and Artie, so I'll use my POH nexus to travel to Artie and head on over to Ross's house, which is just north of the church. Once I get there, just like any other contract, I just repair and replace all his useless shit, then ask him for my money, you know the drill. Typically, I don't take the tea immediately here, instead just waiting until after 2 or 3 contracts when my energy is getting a little bit lower. After getting the XP drop, I'll use NPC contact again and ask Amy for a new contract where the process begins all over again. As you guys can see, having a much more efficient setup is so extremely useful for this minigame and makes such a huge difference. There's a lot less bank trips needed, and being able to minimize used inventory space for anything other than planks and bars is so extremely paramount. So yeah, I mean, that's Mahogany Homes, man. Pretty fun, easy minigame, doesn't require you to sit in your fucking house all day. Hope this helps. I'll see you guys on the next one.